Good morning, everybody, or good evening, or good afternoon, or good night, depending on what time you're watching this. It is Sunday, April 2nd, 2023. It is 2:19 in the morning. Okay, this is part 3 of Promise Me This. He clamped his mouth to keep it from trailing his toes. Golden oak, carved and scrolled, waxed to a high sheen, swept past him. Fancy patterned carpeting in colors he would have wagered grew only in flowers along the river Shannon made him whistle low. Mahogany steps, grand beyond words, swept up to he didn't know where. He caught his breath at the domed skylight above it all. Lights so high he had to crane his neck to see, and spread wider than a man could stretch. Looked for all the world to Michael like layers of icicles and stars, twinkling, dangling one set upon the other. But Michael gasped at his eyes as his eyes traveled downward again. He turned away from the center railing, feeling heat creep up his neck. Why, the masters of Titanic wanted a statue of a winged and naked child to hold a lamp was more than he could imagine. Oi, mind what you're about, lad? A deckhand wheeled a skid of crates, barely missing Michael's back. If we scrape these bulkheads, we're done for. I'll not be wanting my pay docked because a gutter rat can't keep his head. Oh, mind, sir. I will, sir. Michael took no offense. He considered himself a class of vermin somewhat lower than a gutter rat. He swallowed and thought, but the luckiest vermin that ever lived. Set them round here, the fussy man ordered. Immediately, the first-class reception room was filled with chairs and confounding directions. A disagreement over the placement of chairs broke out between two argumentative types in crisp uniforms. The man who'd followed close on Michael's heels stepped back, muttering beneath his breath, "Young bucks busting their britches." A minute passed before he shook his head and spoke from the side of his mouth. "Come, me boyo, we'll fetch another load. Blathering still they'll be." But as they turned, the men in uniform forged an agreement and called for Michael to rearrange the chairs. Michael stepped lively, moved each one willingly, deliberately, and moved a couple again, only to stay longer in the wondrous room. But as quickly as the cavernous room had filled, it emptied. The last of the uniformed men was summoned to the dining room next door, and Michael stood alone in the vast hall. He started for the passageway, then stopped. He knew he should return to the deck with the other hands and finish loading supplies. Okay, that's all for part 3, chapter 1, Promise Me This. Thank you for watching.